Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mechamac, this is Let's Play Oxygen Not Included. It's been a little bit of a while since my last recording, so I don't recall perfectly what happened. But we are making progress on this base. I think that what we really want is for the entire base to be up and running, or at least the hatch ranch to be up and running by cycle 50. That is, we need to have all the eggs transported to this corner up here. If we can get that, then we're good. Something that we can do today though, is to start working on building the automation for our hatch ranch. Because we need to start being able to tell that... So basically the way it works is that we have these critter sensors. We install them in these rooms, and they all, each of them is attached to a NOT gate. So if any room is detected to be under population, it sends a green signal. Otherwise, it sends a red signal. Or maybe it's the other way around, I forget off the top of my head. Now then, let's start the work. And we're out of copper, darn it. Oh well, we've started working on it. This is a little corner up here, so... yeah. These three critter sensors here are used as a very specific control system. It makes sure that the only time that this little box... So basically, we have all the critter eggs here. When they hatch, because they can't jump up or down tiles, they just stay in this room. And they just stay in this little alcove. When they grow into full adults, they can start wandering about. If they're the wrong type of egg, then they're already dropped off down here, but if I don't need any new hatches, then this door is open just long enough for any new hatch to jump down here, and let's not talk about that. But if it detects that it does need new hatches in the ranch, then this door stays closed and they wander into here. And when specifically one hatch has gotten into this room, not too many, not too few, this door locks off and this door opens up. Eventually, with the hatch's random pathing, it'll jump down here, this door will then slam shut on them and force them to drop down into whichever of these little... Excuse me while I set this up to drop off some eggs. It'll drop them into the first ranch that needs more hatches in it. We do need a bit more copper though. We need to save the gold. We want to build a statue out of it. Where'd you get the barbecue from, though? I guess another Sweetle must have passed away and gotten cooked. He must have eaten a whole barbecue because this is not his break. He must have gone, right, my tummy's empty, I need to start eating things now before I starve to death. Now here's the thing, at the moment I'm just saving myself the trouble and only using copper for all these inventions. But suppose I were to accidentally use gold and I want to use the gold somewhere else. Here's what you do. You go to the materials overlay and then you select the correct system that you want to check. So say we want to find the correct metal. The colour of the object gives you a hint at exactly what it is, so you can find them a little bit easier. Although gold and copper is annoyingly rather similar looking. The other things we could check for what minerals we're using. We could look for filtration mediums, that is sand and regolith. Not that we have any regolith yet, but we will someday. The consumable ores, so we can find bleach stone or coal, or salt, or oxalite, or really all sorts of things. Organic is useful because you can use it to track down any unintended to slime. Cultivatable soil, very important for keeping dirt out of the hatch ranches, because if hatches eat dirt, they grow more likely to eat sage hatch. They're more likely to lay a sage hatch egg, and we don't want that. What are you doing there? You're on the wrong side, good sir. You would be good, but I'm pretty sure that I've already gotten a rocketry iron gut duplicate. Yeah. Although your drawback is that instead of the... If it was just pacifist, then I'd be fine with it, but I'm not fine with the bottomless stomach. You would have a bit of potential if you had digging. I would actually break my rule and make you if you were a digger. But as it is, care package. Anyway, back to making this long layout. Yeah, I would say that's it. Anyhow, time for a rather important step. We set this to water. We give it a 9 priority, enable auto bottle. If disabled, duplicants will no longer deliver bottled liquids directly from pitcher pumps. If enabled, they will deliver from pitcher pumps. So we want to keep an eye on this. We want to bring a very specific amount of pitcher pump water over here. Ooh. Copy this over. So now, And keep in mind that with how the... So keeping in mind right now, the only reason we can build these Mechatronic systems straight away is because we save scummed at the very start of the game. At cycle 36, these hatch ranches will now produce at 100% of their capacity. Because anytime someone lays an egg, they won't be cramped because it goes straight into the box and straight up to here. Oh, right. And now we turn auto bottle off and we give it a priority of 1. Need to wait until this empties out completely. It's a perfect 200, and yet for some reason it's supposed to fill this out, so I guess we need another 200. The important point is that both of these tiles need to be covered in water to create a... It's a drowning trap. It's for converting hatches into meat immediately. It's awful, but I need it. Just taking a quick check to make sure that there's no slime lung hanging around here. And speaking of which, there are certain places that always... There are certain little designs that always turn up in these places. I don't see a specific one that I have in mind, but there's one that has a... It has a gate. Basically it's slime, gate, nothing interesting on this side, a single puff on the right side, plus a lot of polluted oxygen and some polluted water below it. For some reason it always has a lot of slime lung in that air and it makes me scared to go into. But the problem is that if you don't go into it, then, well, things go... The problem with it is that for some reason, that one puff will always go extinct if you leave it alone too long. Anyway, build some knock gates. Someone just laid an egg. Nisbet's on break. Hassan would very much like to be able to breathe. I can't deny him that. Breathing is important. Yeah, this goes into the planet's Sub-Zero biome. Basically, the Sub-Zero biome is the last step before you get to the surface. I think it's so that it's to make getting into rocketry easier because rockets produce a lot of superheated gas. Well, really, they just superheat everything in the near location, so it's useful for letting you get to the rocketry sooner. I wonder what happens if I lock it and then unlock it again. Well, with all that said, I think now's a good time to start connecting all the cables up. Also, I need to include the... Okay, So make sure you don't connect any doors until you're finished with the automation. And we also want to clear out this tile here before we start plugging in the doors, because people might get locked into this place after they finish all the wiring. So this connects to this door here. So does the critter trap, so does the knock gate. The way this works is that if it detects that there are no critters in here, eggs are okay, critters are not. If it detects any critters, or if it gets the wrong signal from this long cable, then it shuts this gate tight. That way it can drown newly hatched eggs but leave it open for you to collect the meat, or it can prevent hatches that you need from walking into the drowning trap. Speaking of which, I should probably finish this cable. Now then, if we get the wrong signal here, or rather if we get the "we need someone" signal, goes up, 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 and finishes here. There's a few buffer gates and filter gates involved in here, because the thing is that when critters are in the door, they don't count as in either room, so you have to give the critter sensors a little bit of leeway. These two control whether we're getting a very precise "can we go into this area" signal, or rather it controls do we have too many or too few, I guess. If we open it again, will it unflood, or did we break our trap? I think I should also point out that things like conveyor chutes or liquid vents and gas vents, these can all be automated. That didn't used to be the case, but now it is. So what you can do is you can automate them to only output at certain times, or if they detect a specific element, or if they detect the wrong element going through, so they can act like cheap filters. The difference between using something like a gas filter or an automated gas vent. Or alternatively, there's also automated gas shutoffs that we haven't researched yet. The catch with those is that if you use a gas filter, it requires power to work, and it requires quite a bit of power to work, but it never fails. It will never send the wrong element to the wrong place. Things like automated gas vents or automated shutoffs, those have a chance of failing if they get blocked up. Or if power is out, depending on what sort of automation you're using. So keep that in mind. Yeah, we need to reduce the priority. We don't need more refined metal. Ooh, but what we do need is to get at this area now. That should do it. Eventually we'll get the food there, and then we can start working on, well, getting the hatch ranch up and running. Speaking of which, it looks like the water trap is now working fully. We can get rid of this. Alright, so the reason we can't do any radiation research is that we need to dig up this uranium ore, but I don't feel safe going after the ore while there's still food lying out that we haven't collected. Actually, wait. That's a nat gas geyser. That's a carbon dioxide geyser. That's a hot polluted oxygen vent, oh dear. I could have sworn that we had a second nat gas geyser buried in here somewhere, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. After a while, all the different maps you've played start to blend together. Oh dear, what time is it? Okay, we've still got time. And we can probably give it a little bit of a fast forward. Okay, what did we research? We researched improved plumbing, which means that we have the first step of setting up a It strikes me that putting this nature reserve here with the pip might have been a mistake, because this is usually where I build my plumbing. I mean, it's too big to be a nature reserve, let's be fair. Alright, we start work on this. One little thing about pips. If they find storage containers, then they'll just tear them up and to get at the insides of it. Because what they like is seeds. They like to plant seeds in the dirt to create wild plants, like this bristle blossom didn't used to be here. The downside is that, well, aside from they're creating more storage time for your dupes to work on, but there's one very specific type of seed, and the moment that I say what sort of the moment I name it, you're going to instantly know that it's bad news. Sporchid. Sporchid take advantage of their flowers' attractiveness to lure unsuspecting victims into clouds of parasitic zombie spores. They are a rare form of holoparasitic plant which finds mammalian hosts to infect rather than the usual plant species. The zombie spore was originally designed for medicinal purposes, but its sedative properties were never refined to the point of usefulness. So yeah, when sporchids grow, they produce zombie spores. Duplicants who touch or inhale the spores risk becoming infected and temporarily losing motor control. It isn't lethal, but it's definitely unpleasant, and it's extremely difficult to cure because it requires you to go very deep into the medical tree. I think it thankfully wears off after enough time passes, but still, you have to be very careful that whenever you start dealing with whenever you have a chance of running into zombie spores, always make sure you can get rid of them before they get into the dark carbon dioxide, because they don't die very quickly. I know, it's stuff that's in a biome we aren't anywhere near getting close to, so shouldn't have to worry too much. Catalina is probably going to take a break next shift to get at the food. In fact, I would almost say that it's probably time that we should look into getting a new supplying duplicate just to go alongside the ones that we already have. Or maybe we should swap Catalina's priorities away from... Yeah, I'd say that's what we want to do. More people doing the supplying jobs because our base is actually big enough to need it. Oh, we've got our new first hatchling. Fantastic. Which means that now that we've dug out this area, we actually want to go into... Yeah, we want to focus on getting the automation up and running. And part of that is actually we need to start breaking up these bases. This is only temporary. But it's going to mess up the number of critters we have in each room. So, once we... Okay. Once we've installed all the gates, I'll start shuffling the numbers around in each room again. But basically what happens is, after we get rid of these critter drop-offs, there's going to be a critter sensor at the end of each of these cables. If it detects that there aren't enough hatches in the room, this door slams shut and it sends a green signal onto the mass cable. Whenever a critter drops down from this room, they'll stop at the first shut door, which is going to be a room that needs more hatches. It's really clever stuff, and I unfortunately didn't come up with it. And actually, I think what I want to do is type in auto wrangle surplus. That'll give Ren an automatic job to just move everyone into the topmost station. Or rather, to move everyone out of this room because it's crammed to the rafters. Actually, maybe I should put Catalina on high building operation right about now. Oh wait, where are you delivering him to? Alright, you're just taking them up here because for some reason between these three ranches it's incredibly underpopulated. And actually maybe Ren should help out with the building. because it's a science break. It's almost time over. It's already past the time, sign-off time, but I just want to finish getting these ranches back in order so we can start making eggs again. Turn down Catalina's building, turn up her ranching. Turn down Ren's building, turn up his ranching again. And yeah, we can change Catalina back to... Oh, I see you've already started carrying that little critter away. We have the requisite number here. So this can just get the automatic signal, I guess. I'm sure that once we start excavating this massive area, we will find a few more ranches to introduce to the system, but for now we need to I actually think we need to prioritize on getting the automation up and running. Well, there's a new Pacu fillet out there at least. But yeah, until next time guys, take care. We'll see you all around.